Hi, and welcome to Section 5, displaying the data and details. In the previous section, we learned how to get and parse the data obtained for API. In this section, we will learn about UITableViewController, how to make a search bar to find images in the API, pass data between controllers, and how to use the UI scroll view to make zoom in and out over photos. Now we move on to the first video of this section that deals with one of the most used user interface controllers in iOS, the UITableViewController. In this video, we're going to take a look at what UITable is, its main uses, what's the UITableViewController, and finally, we're going to set up the search bar table view controller in our project. The view table is a type of user interface object frequently used in the development of applications for iOS. It is characterized by having only one column with vertical scrolling support. The table view can be divided into sections. Each section can have a header and footer to display images or text. The table identifies its rows starting from 0 to the number of rows starting from top to bottom. Table views can have a header and footer as for the sections to show information. Header always appears above the first row and the footer below the last cell. One important point about cells in the table view is that they are reusable. This means that every time a cell is scrolled, it is released from memory and updated with a new cell to save memory. For more information about the table view, we can refer to UITableView Programming Guide. Let's see the table view that we created earlier in our project. Run the project to see the app in the simulator. It has a plain style to show. For each row, a picture is retrieved from the API. Each row in the table view is represented for a cell. In the cell, we can show text, images, or any other type of information we want. The cells can be static or dynamic, most commonly represented by static cells and dynamic prototypes. As the name suggests, static cells are cells that does not change its contents. Dynamic cells are cells used to present a template for later fill for each cell in runtime. In our case, we're going to use dynamic cells, mainly because we have a picture for each cell as a template. This is chosen using the interface builder once we mark the UITableViewController in the storyboard. We select the table view below, UITableViewController in the hierarchy of views on the left. Then, to the right, we can see in the Attributes Inspector to choose what type of cells we want to use. Now that we have learned a little bit about table views, let's talk about the UITableViewController. The UITableViewController is a type of controller designed specifically to manage the work with table views. A table view can be managed directly using view controllers, but the UITableViewController saves a lot of time and works to manage its behavior. So let's define our UITableViewController to manage the one created in Storyboard. Create a new Cocoa Touch class, as we did before, to create a file. Choose the subclass of UITableViewController class. In the class name, Xcode completes for us the suffix of the class. Great! Now, put in the name, search bar, and continue. To save a new class to group, mark the controllers previously created. Perfect! We have the class search bar table view controller created. Let's delete some of this commented code we don't want to use for now and uncomment one important that we are going to use later. Put in the number of sections, method 1 section. And in the number of rows for now, let's put 10 rows. Finally, to test out search bar table view controller, we need to associate it with the UI table view controller created before in the storyboard. Let's do it. Open the storyboard, mark the table view controller, and then in the right panel, choose Identity Inspector. For class, we put the name of our newly created class, search bar table view controller. Let's run our app. Wow! Look what happened here. Let's see the message. We forgot to set an identifier for the dynamic cell. Let's do it. Start selecting the Table View controller in the storyboard. Then select Table View below the cell. In the right panel, Attributes Inspector, we set in the identifier text box the text cell as its identifier. And finally, in the class, search bar Table View controller. In the method cell for row at index path, we need to change the identifier for a new one. Let's run it. Perfect. Everything is perfect. We have 10 rows in our table view. In this video, we learnt how to use UITableView controller. In the next video, we will learn how to set up a search bar inside search bar table view controller. Until the next one.